Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing today? It's just a quiet news day in the world of Manchester City fucking football club because we are in the Champions League final. I am not exaggerating to say that I got out of bed 22 minutes ago, I reckon, or something like that. I woke up to a text from
Excellent.
Ahsan. And he was like, video, and I nearly said no. And then I thought, fuck it, I'll jump in the shower, grab a coffee, using my old Man City Champions 2017-18 mug, and
Go
sit
on,
there
lad.
and chat away about football. And I don't regret it, actually, because I'm awake, I'm alive, and Manchester City are very much alive. Good morning, Ahsan. Ahsan, of course, is from the 9320 pod. If you don't know already, go check out the 9320 pod in the link in the description below. A wonderful podcast. Spiel aside, Ahsan, how are you on this fine day?
I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I just didn't expect last night to go like it went. Or maybe I did, but maybe there's always that small part in the back of your head that thinks it's City. Anything could happen. This could go any which way. And then I saw the snow and the ice on the pitch. And I was like, really? This is not real. And then the game kicked off. And I was like, this is weird. This has got typical City written all over it. But no. We turned up, and I have to say, I think the performance last night will age like a fine wine. I think that the more time that passes, we're going to look back on that performance, both individually and collectively, and just go, wow, like you have to. I don't know if we've previously had the X factor that you need to win the Champions League. Last night, I saw a team that has that thing, whatever that X factor is. Last night was a team that had that. They had. Can I swear on these videos? I never know.
I just swore in the intro, so go for it.
They have massive. They showed massive balls last night, man. That's the only way that you can describe it. Last night was. It was a football game in moments, but it was a war. It was really a war in moments. And it was gnarly in moments. And they did it.
By the way, that your swearing was massive balls. I love that. It's so polite. But no, you're right. And that was the one thing I was not expecting from the game last night, sorry. I was expecting it to be a war, and it fucking was a war, man. It was absolutely brutal. It was intense. It was physical. And looking back to the video yesterday morning, when you said maybe Fernandinho's going to start, and you were right, and he did. I wonder if Guardiola knew that in advance, and I wonder if anyone's going to be good in the war, and I wonder if Guardiola looked at the second half of the first leg when PSG absolutely lost their minds, and they did. They started to get very childish. And I wonder I wonder if they'll start getting childish if the game runs away from them as well. And who is the best in the world at winding people up while also being angelic and adorable? Fernandinho. I do wonder if Guardiola once again was playing 4D chess, and he knew that this was going to happen, man. Because it doesn't even feel unrealistic to suggest that, does it, with Guardiola?
I think you're right. I think that as much as Fernandinho was chosen for his footballing ability, I expect that there was a part of Pep that was looking at the ill discipline inside the Paris team and thinking, you know what, Ferner could probably niggle this lot in the first 20 minutes to a point where one of them might snap. And the fact that it took to the second half, what did we do?
Unbelievable. What do you think? Literally, I triggered him so much. By the way, good morning, Nicola. She just said, I thought you were in bed, so I was in bed.
That's your wife. I thought that was a super chat.
No. It's my message. Nicholas, she's like, I said, I'm going to go back to sleep. But then I literally woke up and you texted, and I was like, actually, I'll get out of bed. So I got out of bed because Ahsan said, go and do a video. So,
sorry, Nicola.
Yeah, I was in bed. No, it's fine. She's in work, but she was just confused. But I've never stopped working, Nicola. You know these things because some things are more important. But you're right. Fernandinho on Di Maria. I genuinely couldn't believe just how well disciplined they were. The lack of maturity from PSG was it was kind of mind blowing. They really lost their head. I said during the live stream. They knew they were going out after a certain period of time, and they just wanted to take the world down with them, didn't they? At that point, they genuinely wanted. It was actually, I thought it was embarrassing actually how they were trying to injure people because it was unbelievably petty.
Yeah, I think they reminded me really of an Italian team in the Champions League. I think down the years, I've seen a lot of Italian teams lose their heads when a tie goes beyond them, and then they're just they don't have the. There was a lack of professionalism from Paris last night, and that would be if I was Paris person, that'd be my biggest worries. I'd be looking at it and going, look, anything can happen in football, but it's got to remain 11 against 11. And fine, City are winning 2-0, and you have to now go and score 3 goals unanswered, yeah? But if you score 3 unanswered goals, you'll go through. So,
and it's not even impossible. PSG have scored loads of goals before in games in Champions League.
Exactly, exactly. And there's 35 minutes left on the clock, right? So there's loads of time left as well. I thought their lack of discipline was appalling. And actually, the funny thing is that the lack of discipline, actually, it came from the fact that City did to them what they have done to teams in the Champions League. And that is that City basically killed them on the break. They went, go on then, play football. And then when we get a chance, we'll break on you. And they did it. And again, like, for us to score after like 10 minutes or 12 minutes or however long it was, we don't have to do anything after that. I'm sure that when I listen to and read all of the write-ups, from the media dicks, there'll be lots of, City didn't really, Paris were the better side for 45 minutes in the first leg, and Paris were the better side for 60 minutes in the second leg. It's like, lads, none of that matters, because City, after 10 minutes, scored a goal last night. So now it's 3-1. Absolutely, the onus is on Paris to do something. City aren't going to move until Paris score a goal, and they didn't. So we don't have to do anything.
And it wasn't killing it or anything. It was a professional display. I've got to bring up just I love a cynical super chat. Mehmet, you legend, saying, love watching us entitled Cry Babies Lose. Yep, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not the kind of thing I would personally say go to that far, but I'm glad you said it for me, because there's some words were unspoken. And Mehmet, you're absolutely spot on, man. And to be honest, like, no one likes a sore loser. And they were the biggest of sore losers last night. I mean, but enough about them, more about us, because that felt like a moment last night. And obviously it was the furthest we've ever gone in European competition and all that kind of stuff and whatever. But it felt like a moment that could fundamentally change this club and fundamentally change these players and who they are. Because when you go for something like that together, and that, in my opinion, that the way we won last night was better than winning, like comfortably and battering in 4-5-0. The way we won last night was it was a war, and those things do build character. The way when you're all in the trenches together and you're all throwing your bodies on the line. That moment where Zinchenko, Diaz, and Stones hug together after that block. How does that not change you as a person? Those moments, they do. They mean those means when you've been through a battle. Like, are Manchester City now a fundamentally different club than they were yesterday? And I mean that in a way on the pitch and belief and all that kind of stuff.
I don't want to say. No, not different, because I think that what happened last week, I think we've seen in the last 4 weeks team spirit, and we've seen mentality in various moments. So you go behind against Paris, you react. You go behind against Dortmund, you react. They've shown character every step of the way for the last 6-7 months. Where we are different is that I think, in a way, what happens in the final almost doesn't matter now, because what mattered was to get that hoodoo off your back to get there. And now we've got ourselves there. That's almost, if the quarterfinal was the first mountain, the second mountain was to actually get to a final. And now that we're there, I mean, we should be different, because that group of players should look at themselves and go, we play anybody and we can beat them. And I want to say something else, which I think is super important. And maybe for me, it'll be the biggest takeaway, particularly if we win the Champions League. So for me, if you look down the years at the Champions League, certainly the last 10 years, right? Most of the winners, you're talking about teams with players who are individually so gifted that those games are won in moments, right? So you can go and do a moment of, Messi, Ronaldo, Bale, Salah, like Firmino, like there are these guys in these moments that have done these mad and magical things, right? And that's why people often talk, and Pep talks about the fact that, you need a crack if you want to win the Champions League. Well, you know what? Pep Guardiola and the system is our crack. So whilst other teams have an individual player who makes the difference on the night in these big moments, Guardiola and the system, when it's correct, is what makes the difference for us. And I can only say that now because 4 or 5 weeks ago, deep down inside, I felt we won't get to the Champions League final because you can't do what we're doing without a number 9. Like you can do it in the Premier League, you can do it at certain levels, but at the very top level where you don't get many chances, you're not going to be able to do it. And what that was doing a massive disservice to is the defense and the stability of this team. The reality is they don't concede goals in multiples. They concede 1. So if you only concede 1, but you keep going and doing the thing that you do, we've seen it. They're confident. They feel as though, well, even if we concede 1 against the best attackers in the world, we back ourselves to not concede another one and then go in the other way. Eventually, the other team will crack, and they have done. So I'm really about the. I think we've talked about this in the video yesterday as well. This is Pep's season more than any other season. This is a Guardiola achievement. This is a collective achievement. This is about the collective. It's about the squad. It's not just even about the 11 that played. It's about the team spirit. It's about the indefinable things. You know, like you said, that moment between Zinchenko, Stones, and Diaz. That's not about football. That's about human emotion and mentality and belief and desire. Go on.
A personal example of that. I remember, and it's nowhere near as important as a Champions League final, but little moments mean something you professionally every now and then. I remember when I was in a band, and I remember when we were riding our wave of hype and all that kind of stuff. And I remember the first time we played a sold out gig. And my bandmates, they weren't huggers or anything like that. We were like just a bunch of blokes, you know, that kind of stuff. I remember when we played our first ever sold out gig in Manchester, we headlined it, we absolutely smashed it. And I remember the round of applause at the end. And I remember that feeling of euphoria after we walked off stage and we all just hugged each other. And I remember that moment because something genuinely changed. And what I guess the point is making is it felt more like comradeship, it felt more like friends, and it felt more like, we did this together. And those little moments as well, they make that bond stronger, and they do. And I guess I'm saying that because I know, because I've had moments like that before where you achieve something that you want to achieve together and you feel like you're all in it together. And psychologically, the impact that can have on the dressing room, it's massive. And we all have moments where we've done something before professionally where it feels like a team effort, and you look at someone who meant something to you anyway, but all of a sudden means something to you, and you're like, thanks, mate. Fucking thanks. You know, that kind of thing. And it's like, that genuinely builds friends, and it builds personalities and all that kind of stuff. And I remember that. That always stuck in my head, that little moment personally. I guarantee you, Zinchenko and Stones, people, by the way, Zinchenko and Stones could have not even been here like a few months ago. No one would have questioned it. No one would have questioned it. And look at the level that they were playing last night on. We talk about Diaz a lot, and rightfully so, and we will talk about Diaz in a minute, but fucking John Stones, man. Unbelievable. Like, I like literally, like, the quality he showed last night, and we'll get to Zinchenko as well, but the quality that he showed last night, given everything that he's been through, man, given the fact that many people thought he wouldn't be here anymore, I don't even think he can go back anymore to who he was in terms of inconsistency. No. He shouldn't do. If he does somehow watch this, John Stone, don't ever doubt yourself again. I'm sure Pep Guardiola will be saying the same thing, because there is no questions that need answering anymore about John Stones, in my opinion. Because I know he turn around and say he hasn't won it yet and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't matter. Like, the commitment at this highest level that he showed last night, he never has to doubt himself again, in my opinion. And if he does, I don't know what's gone wrong, because he's already gone far enough, in my opinion, now to try and cement that self-belief. Do you share those thoughts, man?
Completely. And I think, actually, I feel as though Stones looks stronger in his head than he has done at any point in his City career. I agree with you that I'm not sure there'll be a slide backwards, because we forget he's made a couple of mistakes in the last 6-8 weeks. It's not affected him. You think about the mistake for England. You think about the red card for City, right? Those are moments where in the past you would begin to worry, oh no, he's got a rick in him. That's the idea. Like with Stones, it's always like he's got a rick in him, that you can't trust him in big moments. That was always the thing at Everton. That was always the thing in his early City career. Well, look, it doesn't get much bigger than the games that have just been played. And particularly against, I think what we didn't see last night, because obviously we're focused on City and what City do. Look, the Paris players, they're not nice. Neymar Icardi,
No.
Di Maria, Verratti, to play against those guys, it's not nice. You have to be like, you got to be a man. You feel me? Like, you're not going to be,
Yeah.
you can't be reticent or polite in the way that you defend and deal with players like that, because it's a big moment. Yeah, they're snide, right? And they're looking to get in your head. And I think that what we've seen, let me throw this back to you. Do you think that some of this has to be given to Diaz in terms of going, like, the transformation is so big and the strength seemingly is so apparent. It just looks so powerful, both physically as a defender, but mentally as well. I almost feel like I have to give some of that shine to Ruben, because I've just never seen John like that before.
Yeah. Before I answer that question, what I say, Daniel's my latest member. Daniel, an absolute legend. Dan also put this comment saying, "Morning, Diaz, and the videos pod kept me sane and chilled yesterday. What a performance from the boys yesterday. Let's make history now on the 29th. Come on, Daniel. Big love to you, mate. Big love to you, and it's our pleasure, mate." But back to that. No, we have to give Diaz massive credit. One thing I will say is, like, and I'm not trying to play down Diaz's involvement. I want to give Stones a little bit of credit as well, simply because. We knew Stones was potentially even on his way out before Diaz even came in. So it would be unfair not to suggest that maybe the penny had dropped with John Stones. And that doesn't mean he was going to be as good as he is right now. But what I will say is I'm almost certain that something clicked inside his head anyway. You know, like in terms of the realization, like, fuck, I could blow my biggest chance here to play for the best manager in the world. Doesn't mean he would have got to this level without someone like Diaz. But I do think that it's something in his head. I think there was a light bulb moment. And of course, then you need Guardiola. Of course, then you need someone like Diaz. And Diaz was the catalyst for this. I'm almost certain it helped it speed up and get there. But essentially, I guess the point I'm making is I'm trying to give him the credit that he deserves as well for turning his performances around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I do think, honestly, I heard Spurs were very close to signing him, and they wanted him. They looked at it, and he could have just been a loan move, but he was close to leaving. I heard that personally, and I believe it's true. And I guess the point is he stayed, and he thought. But even then, of course, you have to look at the chemistry with Ruben Diaz. And I said before on a little Twitter thread briefly, my theory is that Ruben Diaz could be a better captain for this side, not a better captain overall, a better captain for this side than someone like Vincent Kompany could ever be. And not because Vincent Kompany wasn't insanely brilliant, more just because Ruben Diaz is of his age. He's of the same mentality. He's young. He won't. Remember Micah Richards saying that Vincent Kompany, when he walked in the room, he was like the headmaster, and everyone was like, "Ooh," you know, and he was essentially like a Guardiola type, and that's great. It's wonderful, it's credible, but sometimes you don't need two Guardiolas in a dressing room. Sometimes you need a captain who is your guy. You know, your guy is someone alongside you, your own age, who understands what you've been through. And Ruben Diaz and Vincent Kompany, both brilliant for what it's worth. And Vincent, I'm not trying to play him down. The point I'm making is Ruben Diaz is more like John Stones than Vincent Kompany ever will be, simply because he's younger, simply because he walks in that dressing room, and he isn't above John Stones in the way that Vincent Kompany is. He's level with them, yet he's brilliant, and he wants to make those bonds. So I wonder if someone like Ruben Diaz, who's a natural leader, who's come in, and he won't intimidate his colleagues because he's not been there for 10 years with this I guess
he's still pretty intimidating, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess he won't intimidate with his stature because he hasn't got a right to be considered a bigger voice in the dressing room than anyone else at that moment. I guess the point I'm making. Yeah. He's alongside them. He's not above them. And that he might be above them eventually. Don't get me wrong, but right now he's one of them. He's one of them, and he'll come in. And I guarantee you, like, look at the way that Stones and Diaz celebrate together. They look like friends first and foremost. And when you've got someone like where you don't feel like you're being judged, I reckon he's tough. He's brilliant. But I reckon people aren't scared of making a mistake alongside Ruben Diaz, and I think that's because what you want is because Ruben Diaz is a fantastic captain, but he comes across as the kind of captain and who leads by being a friend and be like, mate, you're brilliant. Don't fucking let anyone tell you otherwise. And I don't think Vinny's actually like that in that same way. I think Vinny's big rousing speech, and I love him for it. But Vinny's more of a captain in the old sense, I think. Whereas, like, I feel football these days, Members just said it's like a brotherhood you see in the military, and there is a bit of that to it, and I do see that, and I sense that a little bit, like we're all in it together. So I do think it's just perfect coincidence that someone like Ruben Diaz came at the exact time where Stones realised he needed to turn it around, and I do think we've got we've got this perfect chemistry, and I feel for Laporte, man, because Laporte's brilliant, but like there is, in my opinion, an undeniable chemistry between Stones and Diaz, and that makes that partnership, in my opinion, has a tiny bit more X factor, and it's because there's something about them. They just mesh, and sometimes some players just get on. And having said that, if Laporte started the final, I'd be happy with it because he's brilliant as well. But those two,
it'd be a bit harsh on.
It'd be very harsh.
But
I'm just talking about the overall quality as opposed to
definitely,
yeah.
Definitely.
But there is
hey, let me ask you something very quickly, right? Just to go back to the Vinny thing. Is it coincidence that we get to the Champions League final after everybody's gone? So basically, if you think about when Guardiola comes in, it's taken 5 years for all of what came before Pep to leave the football club, right? And the only thing left is Aguero, and Aguero's not really kicked a ball this season. Is it just coincidence that?
By the way,
yes, mate. I was surprised that he didn't do it in the first two, but it was fast enough that it was fine. Yeah. But yeah, is it a coincidence that like we get there after Vinny's gone, Yaya's gone, David Silva's gone, Zaba's gone? You see what I mean? Like there's something in that for me. It was something that was noticeable to me last night. It felt like for the first time that team didn't really have a connection to the team to 93-20. Obviously, other than Aguero, who comes on in the last 10, there was no connection to 93-20, right? And certainly not on the pitch, not a big presence in the way that if you look all the way up until Vincent Kompany left, Vincent Kompany was a big presence in every big game, moment, tournament, even if he was injured. You see what I mean? Like, it just...
No, I get it.
There's something in that for me.
No, I think there is as well. And it's not because they aren't brilliant. It's because sometimes you just need to reinvent yourself to take the next step.
Yes.
And that's because like Vinny was integral, as was David Silva, to those parts. And there's a very big chance if they were here that we still get this far anyway. We'll never know that. But I don't think it's unrealistic to say that the squad is different. It is different. It feels different. Yeah. The style is a little bit different. The leaders are different leaders now. And I think when you've got someone like Vincent Kompany and David Silva, they're such big personalities in the game of football. Like they are genuinely, they are the ones that everyone's going to be deferential to, because look at what they've achieved at this club, and rightfully so for what it's worth. But I wouldn't be surprised if Vincent Kompany was in a bad mood. 20 other players in the dressing room are going to be in a bad mood as well, because when you've got a personality that strong, it does drag you along with it, and it does. And maybe, just maybe, like I hate the word baggage because it sounds so unfair, but there is a little bit of like, Champions League baggage with the old generation. We can never quite get past that next step. Maybe now that's essentially gone for certain players who were probably a little bit more desperate to get there because it was the end of their careers. And maybe it doesn't feel quite as big a deal for some of these younger players and whatever, the likes of Rodri and the likes of Diaz and all that. So I do wonder if those players leaving has freed us up a tiny bit, because
I think so.
There's no pressure on them.
No.
I mean, obviously Fernandinho's still there, but we'll never know, I guess, entirely. But it is a different side, and when you've got different sides and different beliefs, you don't have the same concerns anymore, because time is on their side, because most of them are young, and young enough to have a few more chances at it. And I guess they're playing in a different way because it is different. The dressing room speeches will be different this season. We know they will, because when you've got certain players not there anymore, how can it not feel different, man? Like, and if it's different, and you get different performances and different results, well, you can turn around and go, well, maybe the reason it's different is because it quite literally is different. And and that might be an oversimplification. But it could just be that those guys got us to where we needed to be, built us to this level, and now these players have learned from them, and they can hopefully take the next step. And I don't think that's an even unreasonable thing. Quickly, before I get on to the next point, meta commentary. Can't believe I'm up for one of these live, seeing as I'm in the US and it's 4:55 a.m. in the morning.
Well done, mate.
It's 5 a.m. now. It's crazy to imagine all the top players pocketed by us in the Champions League. Yeah, man, absolutely. Thank you so much for watching Meta Commentary. You're an absolute legend. And we did pocket a lot of players, and Zinchenko pocketed a lot of players, and as did Kyle Walker. Those two, man, how big a night for those two?
Can we talk about Kyle first? So,
yes.
Kyle Walker is a player who I've been critical of in the past, but Kyle Walker is also a player who I've said consistently throughout his City career is massively underrated by the faithful. And I thought that his performance last night was, in fact, his performance in the Champions League in the knockouts has been unbelievable. He's incredible. Him, Stones and Diaz have been the cornerstone of what everything has been built on. And I think that the super chat just now about look at the players that we've pocketed. I think it's really important to go the defensive unit has pocketed these guys because the guys all moved. Do you know what I mean? Mbappe moved left and right to try and get joy. He couldn't get it. Yeah, but Neymar left, right, central. He couldn't get any joy. We've collectively, that back four or back five or back six, however you want to characterize it, have been incredible. And individually, the two fullbacks, Walker for me. I mean, there's so many players who have found another level and another gear, and absolutely Kyle Walker for me is a player who's found another level and another gear in a moment in a season where he needed to do that. And Zinchenko is just maybe my favorite, like, I don't even know how to describe what he is, but he's my favorite of a certain type of player in the City squad.
He's a footballer, man. He's just a footballer.
Yeah.
And I mean that in its simplest essence.
Purest sense. Yeah. It's just hey, let me ask you something. I've just thought about this. I want to jump back to what we were talking about just now, right? So if you look at that Paris team last night, that Paris team is still full of players that are our first generation, our Vinny, our David Silva, Di Maria, Verratti, Neymar. Yeah. These guys, they're the first generation of buying for Paris post the takeover, right? The core of that team is still the first team that Qatar built, and you saw the pressure on them last night, particularly in the second half when their heads went because of the Champions League and because it's the Champions League and they feel they have to win it. And honestly, I'm not just saying this. There was moments in watching Paris's performance across both legs where they reminded me of old City. And what I mean by that is that they have got loads of really talented players. And there was moments in the game where you felt like you're good enough to win this game. But then there were other moments where you just felt like there's something missing here. Like there's maybe it's a mentality thing or whatever it is, but it's almost like there's too much pressure on you. And I felt that throughout City's Champions League career, even with Pep. And I felt that with Paris last night. And I was looking at like Verratti losing his head in the way that he did. That's 9-10 years of pressure of you've got to win the Champions League because of the money that we've spent, and you've not done it. And every year the pressure builds and you get a bit more when you get into those games and your heads go. Whereas what you said is absolutely spot on, that our lot, it's new for them. Foden, he's like, I've got 10 years of these Champions League games ahead of me.
Bring it on, man.
Do you know what I mean? And actually, the age of the squad, if you look throughout the team, so many young players that.
Should we go through the team now? So you got Ederson, he's like mid-20s. You got Zinchenko, he's at mid to early 20s. Diaz, early 20s. Stones, mid to late, but he's still got years left. Kyle Walker, well, he's a physical freak. He's got 3 or 4 years left easily. You know, Fernandinho last year, but Fernandinho. He doesn't. I mean, you can put him out 14, he'd still be fine probably. But then you got Bernardo, Gundogan. Gundogan will feel like he's got 2 or 3 more goes at this. Bernardo's got loads more goes. Foden's got loads more goes. Kevin De Bruyne's got a couple more, maybe 3 more. Morris has got maybe a couple more as well. So, but previously it was we had the likes of Otamendi was a lot older. We had Vinny there. We had David Silva who was a lot older. It has changed. It has changed. You know, the massively squad. And you're right. I mean, last night PSG were kind of like all the gear and no idea kind of stuff. Like they had the ability and they are clearly quality. But you're right. In terms, I wonder if that was getting the frustration was getting to them, especially after last year when they got to the final and didn't win it. You could collectively you could feel the frustration, couldn't you? You could feel that they were like, we're gonna fuck this up again, and that kind of stuff. Like it can be. It can defeat you before you even kick a ball.
Look, they beat Bayern and Barcelona, that were 2 clubs that they felt had a hoodoo over them for different reasons to get to the point where they would play City. I think, judging by their body language before the first leg, I think they thought this is in the bag here. I think they looked at it and they went, you know what? We've just beat Bayern and Barcelona. City are going to be no problem. Yeah. And I think that what you see, even like if you see the reaction to our first goal last night, their heads already a little bit went when we scored our first goal, because it was a little bit like, and this is what I mean about being reminded of old City in the Champions League, that we had those games where we play well for 15 minutes and then the opposition would just go bang and score a goal, and it'd be that's the Champions League, lads. That's just the way it works. And I really felt like, you know, looking at Paris last night, that just kept saying, that's the Champions League, lads. Like, it doesn't matter if you go, like, but we played really well for 65 minutes of that tie. No, the Champions League, it's won in the moments.
Do you know what? And we are the team that did that to him. To think that we're on the other side of that for the first time, it feels fucking good. It feels wonderful to actually realise, wait, PSG felt the feeling that we felt for years because we did that to them, because we are no longer the club. That's that's
next
huge.
season.
It's absolutely
next
huge,
season.
Man.
Next season, are you afraid of any team in European football in the Champions League? If you think about 2 months ago, and we'd have gone, you know what? You want to avoid Paris. You want to avoid Bayern. You want to avoid.
We were scared of Dortmund, man.
Yeah,
we were scared of Dortmund, like, and not even understandably.
Now,
genuinely,
I'm not afraid of anyone. I'm like, bring it on. Like Bayern next season, come on. Like we're cut from a different cloth. I had to see it with my own eyes. They had to prove it. They had to keep proving it. I think it's unfair that I've judged them over this longer period, but I don't have to judge them over a longer period. Like, they deserve to be in the Champions League final, and they deserve to be talked about as a team that is arguably the best football team in the world right now. I mean, who's better right now in terms of a team, a collective, a unit? It's just, there's nobody. And you know, can I have another little rant? Pisses me off, right? That, like, you know, that there's this like weird thing where, because it's a system, it gets less respect. Because it's not Neymar doing a madness or Mbappe doing a madness, it gets less respect. Like, why? We should be lauded right now. The media, right? And I use that in a way. I whenever I use it, I think it's unfair, because there's really good people in the media. There's just a lot of shitty dickheads in the media as well. But my issue with it is that it's an achievement, right? It's a huge achievement, regardless of Abu Dhabi and the money and all of those things. What City have done is a huge achievement. It's about the collective. It's about Guardiola.
Yeah.
It's about something that you can really talk about and be proud of as England having a team in the Champions League final, right? That doesn't have a 40-goal a season Mo Salah, that doesn't have a 40-goal a season Leo Messi. You see what I mean? A team that is built on a collective, right? That have been the better side throughout the knockouts and fully deserve to be there. They should not be talked down in the way that City have been talked down in the last 6 or 7 days. Some of the stuff that I've read and heard from people is frankly a fucking disgrace, lads. You can't call yourself a football journalist, right? And then not be excited, proud, like looking at this thing and going, this is special. Like, if you say Guardiola's never won a Champions League without Messi, well, now he's just got to the final of the Champions League without anything approaching a goal scorer. There is not a goal scorer in the team. There's just a team and a system that operates so well, both defensively and attacking wise, that they'll beat you, whoever you are. Come on, man.
You know, you're absolutely spot on, man. Like, if it's weird, you would think if you were a football writer and a fan of the beautiful game, you'd want to sit there and write articles about what makes this team greater than the sum of the parts. You'd think you'd want to sit there
exactly,
and absolutely lord over Zinchenko, lord over John Stones, and lord over Fernandinho's longevity. Like, why not? Like, and I mean, the football reporting lost its head collectively a while ago now, and like some people can't see the wood for the trees, and it's a real shame. It's a real shame. I quite laugh, by the way. Someone's just said, "I'm not letting you talk." I don't know what they've been watching. That's comments are weird sometimes, man. What the fuck, man? Like And also, I'm not sure some people are familiar with the idea of a conversation. You know, like it's a
Goes
conversation.
2 ways, lads.
Yeah, that's how it is. But anyway, a few super chats. Thomas saying, can we talk about Ruben Dias? He's a warrior from Man City, from the town of Porto. He's a page right of history. We can indeed, mate, and we'll get to that very soon. There's a few more comments I want to get to, though. Thomas, you're absolute legend. Sorry, I wasn't ignoring all the super chats. You're all absolute heroes. Where's gone? Oliver, where's Oliver gone? I saw another one from someone else. So many. Oliver saying Zinchenko reminded me so much of Zabi in that he's not world class, but he guarantees you an 8 out of 10 performance every game. And I guess at that point, what I would say is, Oliver, if you get 8 out of 10 every single game, when do you become world class? I mean, I'm not saying he is,
and
but
also,
I'm going to say
and also, whoa, also, I have to massively, Oliver, with all due respect, I loved Pablo Zabaleta. Pablo Zabaleta did not have the technical or footballing ability that Zinchenko has got. Let's be honest. Zaba might have been a warrior and a better defender, but Zinchenko is a baller. Do you know what I mean? Like he does things in the left back position he's got no right to do. He plays passes and moves with a calmness that he's got no right to do. Like that's when we talk about the performance last night. What blew me away again was under pressure, like bang, oh you're there, bang, there you go, there's the ball. I'll move over here, give it me back. The willing, oh man. Can we talk about the bravery?
He's also better defensively than we realise these days. He's improved. He's not the guy from 2 years ago.
Massively.
He's not. I'm sorry. There's a strength and an understanding to his game now because he's clearly intelligent. And when you have that intelligence and that desire to improve and focus on your own individual game and your own individual mistakes, the sky's the limit when you've got a coach like Guardiola who Guardiola wants players who are willing to receive information, willing to try new things and be humble, basically. And you don't get more humble and more alert and more awake than someone like Zinchenko, a man who revels in his own inadequacies. And I mean that in a good way because he looks at his mistakes in a way that most professionals aren't willing to do. And he does improve. And that takes fucking balls. And there's a reason Guardiola likes players with character and personality. And Zinchenko has that in spades, arguably, possibly more than anyone else in this squad. And I mean that because he could have rightfully been somewhere else in that. Now, we tried to ship him out the door a few times, but he's like you sent him out in the rain and he just sat there at the back door waiting to be let in. He didn't know what to go anywhere. And he stayed around. And this victory last night is as much as it is about him as it is for the squad as well, because he's a victory for perseverance and belief in yourself. And those things sometimes matter more than anything, really, because if you win those battles for yourself, like Zinchenko last night, his bravery. You were going to talk about his bravery, man. Like, I'm the bravery of the whole team, but specifically Zinchenko. But for me, it's about the occasions, right? And that, like last night, was an occasion when he when he came on the pitch against Paris last week. Can you imagine 60 minutes into the first leg of the semi-final of the European Cup? You're Alex Zinchenko, right? You sat on the bench and Guardiola goes, Cancelo's having a mare here, and you're watching Cancelo have a mare, and Guardiola goes, come on, you go and do your thing, right? He played with a confidence that can only come from the manager and the coach. And I think that if you, like, when we look at the analysis of this season, I want somebody to go through and analyze individually the performance of certain players and go, look at where they were 12, 18 months ago. Look at where they are now. And then why aren't we talking about Pep Guardiola even more? And I'm going to keep coming back to this, right? This is all about Pep. It's all about Pep everywhere. Everywhere you look and you see something good, there's an element of Pep inside that. And because he doesn't talk himself up, because he's not a walking PR man for himself in the way that Jose is, he just doesn't get that credit. The improvement in Zinchenko defensively across the back five, right? Why are they so good defensively? They don't make tackles, right? And this is a mad thing to say. They don't tackle. They've learned how to defend without being stupid. Previously, they were throwing, and Vinny was as culpable as anybody, throwing a mad one in on the halfway line where you're just like, oh, great, 7 minutes into a game, your man might get a red card here because of the way that he's just completely gone through. And it just, Ruben has brought the opposite of that. He's just like, don't tackle, keep your shape, keep your positions, jockey these guys. He's like that constantly.
Relax, just play your, and you see that Zinchenko is a great example. You're right, he's better defensively because he knows body position, he knows where to be on the pitch, and he knows how to jockey a player and get a fucking blocking when he needs to get a block in. That's it. The basics, as Fabi Delph would say. And for so many years, with this City team, we saw, from a defensive point of view, a complete collapse, a complete calamity, whether it be individually or collectively. And for me, it always came from bad decision-making, rash decision-making, a rush of blood to the head. Now, ice in their veins. Neymar, Mbappe, these are the players that are meant to keep you up at night. Did Zinchenko look like he'd been up all night being afraid of Neymar or Mbappe? Go on.
Do you remember anything Neymar did last night? I'm not even just trying to be like controversial, but I don't remember a single thing he did last night, and that was because of the shape and the structure, and because of people like Fernandinho. Mahir say we absolutely need Dino to stay. The way he bossed the midfield, kept Zinner in line, bullied Neymar, got Dumfries sent off, and led our team, irreplaceable. I've been saying this, man. We need to start a petition to get him to stay for another year because he's too good. He doesn't need to go. That was the highest level in football basically last night, and 36-year-old Fernandinho looked world class because he probably is still on his day, and I want him to stay personally. Maybe he doesn't want to, by the way. If we win this thing, maybe he'll want to pick up the trophy and walk off into the sunset and be like, I've done my shit here right now. And if he does want to do that, fair enough, but I want him to stay. I presume you share those sentiments, man.
I want him to stay, and I'm hoping that if he wins the European Cup, that actually they convince him to be a coach and stay. Like, because the thing for me is it's more the thing with Ferner is that I don't want the presence to go. Like the footballing side of it. Look, the truth is Rodri's going to play the overwhelmingly vast majority of games in that position. It is what it is. So let's not kid ourselves that anything is different there. But the point is, clearly he's a leader. Clearly he has a presence and a respect in the dressing room. And it's just not good to lose a presence like that from the dressing room. So if there is a way to keep him, we absolutely must keep him. And I just, I'm like I said yesterday, maybe it's the Super League thing and all that sort of stuff, but I find myself completely uninterested in big money signings or like transfer excitement. And I find myself looking at the 25 that we have and going, I love you all from the bottom of my heart, and you all stay and we all do this again next season. And, let's false nine it up. Let's go. Do you know what I mean? Like, can we talk about that for a second? Can we talk about that? We're in the final of the Champions League. We've not played a number 9.
What's a striker?
At all.
I have no idea anymore.
What's a striker, right? What is a striker? And how is that not the biggest talking point across the board, right? Again, we keep ending up back at that fella because Pep, what's he done? He's done something that even I thought was impossible. I've been saying for 6-8 weeks, we can't get to the final, not without a number 9. Eventually we'll come unstuck.
What does Pep know? More than us. Absolutely more than us, because he's an absolute genius. Big Mason, thank you so much, Mazem. Absolute fucking legend. Last night was
legend, mate. Nice.
I know, man. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. Can't believe we're in the final of a competition which we were banned from. Can we show respect to Zinny that he earned a team full of big money signings, and he probably gives the most a little fighter. Indeed. Do you know what? I think the most pertinent part of that is the first part. I mean, we're in a final. I don't think it's even fully sunk in yet. We're in the final of the Champions League that we didn't even know we were going to be in a few months ago, and look where we are now, man. Absolutely spot on, mate. It's a surreal time, and absolutely surreal, but absolutely worth pointing out because it is kind of as good as it gets. Once again, absolute legend for that. Thank you so much.
Can I ask you a question? If we win it, do you reckon we'll boo the Champions League anthem next season when we're back in the ground?
Louder than ever. Why not, man? That's the most Man City thing in the world. Fucking boo. Boo it, just holding trophies at the same time like a bunch of hypocritical dickheads. I can't wait. I absolutely love the idea. I reckon it'll be louder than ever. I think it will.
Yeah. Probably.
I think, an ironic way, because City fans are dickheads that way, and I love it. I absolutely wouldn't change it as well. This is interesting. Meta commentary saying this isn't a down or a negative question, but my heart keeps turning in this direction. Don't you wish we could have gone a little stronger versus Chelsea? It's easy to look back. What I would say, it's easy to look back and ask these questions, shoulda, woulda, coulda, but you never get anywhere in life wondering about what you've missed out on. And it's a big argument to say that we are where we are right now because we did that. So maybe we could have played a stronger team and got through it.
That too?
But yeah, you can't. But I think we needed to maybe remember what we've got. But go on.
I think that part of the success has been about the team spirit. And I think for the team spirit to survive, the players that weren't playing needed to be given games to play. I don't think that Guardiola could have got away with just sticking with 14 and saying to the others, sods lads. That was never gonna work. And I think that I totally get the point, but I almost feel that the intangible part of that will be the team spirit. It'll be the matiness, that we go to war for each other. For that to happen, those lads need to feel part of it. You can't have,
I agree.
Torres, Raz, Jesus, Laporte, lads like that just never kicking a football. Yeah, because that will fester and that will create problems. And I know for a fact in the earlier part of the season, there were problems in the dressing room, and Guardiola was quite open about going, there's some lads with a face on, and if you've got a face on, call your agent because I'm not interested. So I think that this second half, it's really been about making sure there's everybody pulling in the same direction. For that, you needed to give those lads games.
No, you're right. I mean, and are you going to sit here and tell me, and no one's literally doing it. I mean, metaphorically, that the squad isn't happier for Ferran Torres and Aguero scoring the other day. You need those rotations for moments like that because they're important. Like they feel more of a collective. You're not going to win the Champions League and other trophies if you don't feel like every single member of the squad's pulling in the same way. And unfortunately, you have to take those sacrifices or those risks every now and then because they are for the greater good. It's a simple way of putting it, but it is. And Guardiola's right. You can't not play those people because I mean, for one, we need them. Man, like imagine if someone gets injured now, we need those players to feel involved and that they've got a chance to be involved. And if push comes to shove and we have to play one of them, they need to feel confident and like they deserve to be there as well. So it's easy to look back at the Chelsea game, but what will be, man. None of us will remember the Chelsea game if we complete this. No one will care anymore. I mean, we don't need to win all four to be an incredible side. We know that. There's maybe a what if there, but it isn't worth it, is my personal opinion. We could sit and worry about hypotheticals all day, but you're going to lose something at some point. The point is how you react to those defeats. And look how we reacted to that, man. Look how we reacted. It's been absolutely brilliant. And Xavi here, I think it's the Xavi, just saying, Steve and Ahsan, name a more iconic duo our way. Big love to Xavi, man. I think I'm going to pretend it's actually Xavi. He's just a big fan of these two. But thank you so much, man. Final. Do you want anyone? Do you care? Chelsea?
I want to play Madrid. I want to play Madrid. I want to beat Real Madrid in the final. I want to lose to Real Madrid in the final. You understand what I mean? Like I don't want it to be a domestic. Or I don't want it to be an all-English final.
I want it to be a Champions League night.
Yeah, I want it to be a Champions League night, and for it to be a Champions League night, and I'm not a history merchant either, right? But for me, it's got to be Madrid. I'm really going to be rooting for Madrid tonight because win or lose in the final, I'd prefer that it were against Madrid. Hey mate, I've got 5 minutes until I've got to start.
No, it's fine. I'm going to end it here as well. I want Madrid simply because one, I think we've got more of a chance, and two, it means more because it's Madrid, and I don't want to see City play Chelsea again. I don't want that. It's boring. It's boring. Istanbul, we are coming. Indeed, Nick Jackson, a worldie, man. Absolutely. Bernardo Silva running down the wing. Silva makes the people sing. We're all going to Istanbul. Doesn't kind of work, but I'll do it. Nick Jackson, you're a legend. Ahsan, you are a legend. Every single one of you's watching, you're all legends as well. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button, all that kind of stuff, and go and check out the 9320 podcast.
Go check out. I was pointing the wrong place there. Go and check out the 9320 podcast.
I've put a link to their Twitter right now in the chat, so go and give that a follow as well and subscribe and all that kind of stuff because they're absolute legends over there, and there'll be loads and loads and loads of great content. Ahsan's about to go and film a podcast with them, record a podcast with them right now, so look out for that very, very soon. I'll be retweeting it later. For now, though, guys, we're in the Champions League final. It's fucking ridiculous. That's where we are today. That's our reality right now. Enjoy it, savor it, love it, because life, and I've said this a few times, it doesn't get better than this. It doesn't get better than this. Keep remembering that. Keep remembering it. Guys, in a bit. Big love.